guys, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jennifer Dory. I'm an IPB Bikini Pro, and basically I'm going to use this channel to document my road to Olympia this year, which we're currently just under 2 weeks out. So I'm super excited. It is my rookie year, so it's pretty exciting and pretty surreal to me that I'm getting to go to the Olympia. So I'll just go over briefly, I got my pro card, just a bit of a timeline of events. So I got my pro card last year in May at the Natural Nationals in Laval. That's in Canada. So they give out the pro card to the overall winner. So I had won that. That was where I won my pro card. I decided to take the year off, and then this year I came back to do my pro debut, which was in June at the Toronto Pro Show. Obviously I wanted to do a hometown show for my pro debut just because then I could have all my family and friends there, and I just wanted it to be close to home. It's easier, it's less stress. So at that show I placed third for my pro debut. Honestly, that was a shock to me because I knew I was going to do well. I was expecting, I had my goal set for top 3 actually with my coach, but it was still a shock for me when they called me out for first calls, because I was up there and I was oh my god, look at all these girls, I don't know if I can stand next to these pros. And then once I was in the first call outs and after that show, I was kind of okay, so I can hold my own next to these pros. And so feedback from that show was pretty much not to change anything physique-wise, that I brought a really good package just to work on presentation. So being more comfortable on stage, don't look like I'm thinking so much on stage. So then 5 weeks after that, I did Vancouver Pro Show, and I placed second to Ashley Kaltwasser, and that was probably one of the coolest experiences so far. They called just me and Ashley out on stage to compare us, which is cool because we both have a similar look, the dark hair, the green suit. And so it was almost I'm a mini me or something like that, the two of us on stage. It was I was watching a video and I almost couldn't tell who was who for a few parts of it. So that was really awesome for me, finally getting to meet her and share the stage with her. And then my feedback for that show was that my upper body could be a little bit fuller. That was probably the most conditioned that I've been for all of my shows so far. And they said, conditioning, I was very conditioned, definitely don't get any harder than that, no more shredded, and just upper body could be a little bit fuller. So I personally think that my waist could have been a little bit tighter because it was a little bit bloated, almost was inflamed. I'm not really sure. I didn't sleep much between Toronto and Vancouver, to be honest. I probably slept maybe 4 hours a night. I just could not sleep. I was pretty depleted between the two shows, and just in prep sometimes I can't sleep. So then 2 weeks after that, I ended up doing the Battle in the Desert in Las Vegas, and I tied for third with India at that show, and then I got bumped to fourth at finals. So I placed fourth there, and my feedback there was that I was just harder than the other girls from the back, and they didn't want to see that much detail. So I had a lot of details in my hamstrings, and it was also the way that I was posing. And Sandy, the head judge, pretty much told me from the back, we don't want to see all those lines in your hamstrings. We just want to see glutes, nice shapely legs, glute ham tying, but we don't want to see lines running. I have hamstrings that run all the way down. So basically what I did to fix that one going into Tampa was I changed my posing. So usually for my back pose, I lock out my knees and I'm flexing my hamstrings and pushing out on my glutes, obviously arching my back. It's almost like a stiff leg deadlift, so my hamstrings are flexed and they're showing. So what I just did pretty much was I bent my knees a little bit and I didn't flex my hamstrings in it. So by bending my knees, it took out my hamstrings. You couldn't see them running right down because obviously I'm not flexing my hamstrings. And my glutes just looked a little bit fuller, and it's almost they're more I use my hands a lot when I talk, sorry. They're 3D almost because they're popping out a little bit more. But it's kind of weird because I'm so used to posing so hard when I turn to the back, you're flexing your back, you're flexing your hamstrings, you're pushing out, you're arching as much as you can. So for me, I was just turn to the back and don't pose, don't do anything, just stand there. And it ends up looking way better on stage, so I'm glad that we made those changes. So then 2 weeks later after Vegas was when I did Tampa, and I obviously implemented those posing changes. I placed second there, and that was by far my favorite package that I've brought my entire competing history, amateur or pro. So it was a really good way to end my season. That show itself was such a good experience and so much fun. Probably the best trip that I've had in my life. So that was a really good show for me. I met a lot of people, and I just had a lot of fun at that show. Package-wise, that was my favorite. I did change my connectors for that show because I had smaller connectors and a wider top connector. But because I don't have my boobs done, obviously, this is just a bra. So I don't have my boobs done, so it's not if you have like a wider set connector and you don't have big boobs, obviously, or like implants, it looks a little bit weird sometimes. So what I did was I got a smaller connector so it came closer in the middle. I just stuff my suit a lot. Girls, pillow stuffing works wonders for your suit. Like, it looks like I have boobs when I wear my suit on stage, and I don't. Also, what else was it? My connectors for the bottom. So I wanted a little bit thicker of a connector just because I am very petite, so I don't want to do a thick connector, but I didn't like how thin this one was, and it didn't go around my hips enough. So what I did was we changed the connectors and the cut of my suit a little bit, so I really liked the new cut, the new connectors, and then we changed my front post too, so that was a last minute thing. It was actually what we thought was my bad side, and it ended up being way better. My glutes and my legs, I could twist more on my left side. My lower body, I could twist fully to the side. My right side, my waist looks better and I can twist more, but my glutes and my legs don't look as good, so it's kind of like I'm sacrificing overall shape just for my waist. And realistically, like, even though bikini is about like having a tight waist, it's more about overall shape. And yeah, so Tampa was a really good experience for me. Like I said, it was a good way to end my season, kind of, even though it's not going to end my season because Olympia will be ending my season, but it was a good way to get my Olympia qualification. So to be honest, I had no intentions, no plans, not even a thought in my head about going to Olympia this year in my rookie year. I just was like, I'm going to do Toronto because it's a hometown show, Vancouver because it's in Canada, even though it ended up costing more than shows in the States because traveling domestic in Canada is ridiculous. Just a heads up, and Vancouver's a very expensive show. But yeah, so it's kind of like, looking back now to see that I get to go to the Olympia is just so surreal to me. Like, I'm gonna start crying if I talk about it. I'm just so grateful for all of the experiences and the opportunities that I've got, traveling, meeting people, just the overall experience of a lifetime. Honestly, it feels like I'm living a dream the past few months. And I was saying that too, I was like, it feels like I'm like living my dream. I'm gonna wake up and all of a sudden be like back to my regular world. Or like when you go to one of the shows and you come home and it's like back to regular life, back to your work and whatnot, and then it's like, what just happened on the weekend? So yeah, I'm just really grateful to be able to go to the Olympia. My first year is insane, and I'm only 21, so I think I'll be the youngest bikini girl on stage. I'm not 100% sure. So for me, it's a huge accomplishment. I'm obviously really proud of myself for that because I didn't have any plans on doing that. I was like, I'm just going to test the waters as a pro. I knew I would do well as a pro because genetically, I do have good genetics, and I've worked hard to build a structure that's suitable for the bikini division and what they are looking for. So bikini division, obviously they want to see nice round delts, small waist, high tight round glutes, and definition throughout your midsection. They don't want too much abs. I don't really have crazy abs, so thank God. But I do have a small waist, so that works in my favor. My initial plan was Toronto, Vancouver. I was like, I might do a show in the States just to, like get my face out there in the States and then go on a vacation. I was thinking of doing the Vegas show because I've never been to Vegas. We were gonna go, me and my twin sister, for our 21st birthday, but we didn't end up getting to go. So I was like, maybe I'll do the Vegas show and we could just go vacation there afterwards, or Tampa. I actually had both those contracts that I had asked for when I got my pro card because I was potentially thinking of doing one of them. I had no intention of doing both of them or doing it to get an Olympia qualification. But after Toronto, I placed third. I was talking to Ron, and he was like, why don't you go to Vancouver? If you win Vancouver, you'll be qualified for the Olympia. So I was like, well, I'm going to do Vancouver anyways, so we'll see what happens. And then after Vancouver, I had, I think, 11 points, and I talked to Sandy, and she was like, why don't you go do Vegas? It's in 2 weeks. It's easy to maintain your condition. Just go do that show, get your points for Olympia. If you need to do one more show, do that, and then you can do Olympia this year. She goes, I think you should do it. So I was like, I don't know. I talked it over, and I had a coach change as well after Vancouver, so it was a little bit stressful for me. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Like, fuck it, let's just do it. And then I was like, game on. Like, if we can qualify for Olympia, why the hell not? It'd be silly not to. I've already have the points. I'm already in. I think I was just under the top 20. It was like 21 or something like that. So for the Olympia, what they do for bikini, because there's more than 25 shows, the top 20 in the point system get to go to the Olympia. So you just have to keep an eye on the points because you can get bumped up and down depending on who places at the shows. So for me, I was like, I think number 21 after. But they do a tier system. So Toronto and Vancouver and Tampa were all high-level shows. I think Toronto and Vancouver were the same tier level. Tampa was a higher level show. Vegas, it was the first year of that show, so it was a lower tier show, except that show was huge. It ended up turning out to be like almost 30 girls in the class. Same thing, Tampa was a huge show. So Tampa, I think I only got like 2 points or something like that, and then, or sorry, Vegas, what am I talking about? Diagram. Vegas, I only got like 2 points or something like that. And then I was sitting, again, like tied for 20th spot, and I was like, honestly, like, I don't know if I want to do that. I just was like, I was tired, I was burnt out because I had been prepping since February, so now I've been in prep for like 30 weeks, 29, 30 weeks, which is pretty tough on your body, and mentally it takes a toll on you too, especially with peaking for all these shows back to back. Like I peaked for 4 shows in less than 2 months, so obviously like water, sodium, carb manipulation, flying, water retention, all that. So total points, I think I ended up with, it was 21 points, so that put me in the top 10 qualified for the Mr. Olympia. Tampa, like I knew it was like a lot was riding on that show, so it was kind of like that was a make it or break it. Like I was tied for 20th spot, and a lot of the girls who were either right below me or a few spots below me, they were doing Tampa as well. And because Tampa was such a high point system, someone who was way below could have won first or second and jumped everyone else. So I knew like I had to place top 5 in order to go to Olympia for Tampa and I'd be safe. So I was like, the night before, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta place top 5. So it was very stressful, but that was by far the best package that I brought. I was just very nervous on stage. So my presentation was off, and then when I was on stage, I'm like, I probably myself, like my presentation was shit and my hair was pissing me off. My hair was actually pretty stressful. I put in longer extensions. I wear extensions for a show day, so I put in 24-inch ones and had my hair straight, and they were way too long. It looked like a horse's tail or something when I turned around. So last minute, like 10 minutes before we had to be backstage, I was like, okay, I need to change these out real quick. So put in my shorter ones, but I didn't have a chance to like brush them out and fix them properly. And they were kind of messy, but we were rushed because we needed to get backstage so we didn't miss our class. So my hair wasn't like, I didn't feel comfortable with how my hair was, and like right here it was like splitting because it was like sweaty. And the humidity there, it just was a mess. My hair is frizzy and I just wasn't really happy with my hair. So I'm definitely not doing the straight hair for the Olympia. I just feel like there's something missing with the straight hair. It's too plain, and it honestly pissed me off last time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna part my hair on the other side so I don't have to deal with my bangs splitting in my front pores or going in my face. But I was thinking of doing, I have 2 options, either something like this, like a loose curl wave, which I personally really like. I wanted to do for Tampa and I decided to stick with straight. It's just a little bit sexier, it flows a little bit more, and it just adds a little bit to your overall physique and presentation. Or I could do my natural curls on stage, which is, I know like J.M. Mannion, he saw my natural curls before we did our shoot. He was like, is that your natural hair? I was like, yeah. And then him and his wife were like, why do you not do that on stage? Like, so they really want me to do it on stage. Kind of like Michelle Sylvia or like Tiffany Uriah. And I love the look on both of them. I love my natural curls as well. I just don't know on stage. I'm like, it's risky. But it would stand out because obviously most people do have straight or curled hair on stage, so to have something different, it stands out, it's a little bit more authentic, more me, was their reasoning behind it. And I agree, like I think it would look nice, but it's just so, curly hair is very unpredictable, and in the heat there, I don't want to chance it, so I'm not 100% sure. So I will be doing a new hairstyle. I also have a new suit, which I'm so excited. New heels from Glam Competition Jewelry and some new jewelry. I'll show you my jewelry actually, it's over here. So that's with Glam Competition Jewelry. So you guys can use my code Jennifer20 in case you want to order anything. I'll put it below. I got this bracelet. Oops, I just spilled everything on the floor. And this one. I got this ring. And I'm in love with these earrings because I wanted new earrings. And I just got these ones and they're so gorgeous. So I can't wait to wear these on stage. And my heels are, I think they're called the Ashley strap. I'll put on the caption here what everything is. And I'll tag it below so you guys can see. Here are my gorgeous heels. I love the bling on them. So these are from Glam Competition Jewelry as well. And are you guys ready for this suit? so nice. I love it so much. I'll like close up so you can see all these crystals. So she did like, I don't even know what crystals to be honest. There's like blue, green, like a darker blue, almost like a black crystal, but by far my favorite suit yet. The bottoms are like teeny pro cut bottoms. This was my other suit that I had been wearing. So this one's really nice too. It's all emerald AB crystals on it. So it does end up showing up more turquoisey on stage, lighter. So we wanted to go something a little bit darker. They're both gorgeous, but this one for me, I know it's gonna shine so nicely on stage. So I can't just wear that inside kind of update. If you follow me on Instagram, I do like little prep updates on my stories and stuff to let you guys know. But so when I was 3 weeks out, I think it was, like 3-4 weeks out, because after Tampa I had about a week off to kind of just relax, give my body some downtime. Just because I've been prepping for so long, we reduced my cardio and I was eating a little bit more just to give my body a little bit of a break from the stress. And then we ended up ramping things up again, but I did end up gaining, like my stage weight one day out usually is like 122 pounds, and I jumped up to 127 when I was like 4 weeks out, and I was like, what is going on? I was just very watery, like I wasn't as hard as what I usually am, and usually for me conditioning is never an issue. I'm always told that I'm like almost borderline too conditioned, especially my legs, and they were pretty soft. My glutes looked watery, which I'm pretty sure the majority of it was hormonal water retention, but nonetheless, we were like, okay, let's push a little bit harder right now just to get rid of it. So I did low carbs all week, and we bumped my cardio up to 60 minutes a day, which for me is a lot because I usually don't have to do a lot of cardio. And same with food, my body it thrives on carbs, so I can eat a lot and get pretty shredded. And so for me, that was like, I was dying because that's freaking tough for me. And then my weight finally went back down, and then this past week, it's just been like loading my body with food because no matter how much I eat, I keep dropping weight now. So it was like I had refeeds like Friday, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, and my weight just kept dropping, and it wasn't stabilizing, and I just wasn't like, I would be full for a day, and then if I did a regular day, I would drop down again. So we didn't do any low days this week. Reduced my cardio to 40 minutes 6 times a week, and I've been doing all high days pretty much, which is about 250 grams of carbs for me. And then yeah, so my weight just keeps dropping. And then even today, we were gonna do a low day today actually, and I woke up, I was like 124 the other day, and I woke up today because I finally slept, and I was 122, and I was like, this can't be right. So I like weighed myself again, and I sent my check to my coach, and he's like, holy shit, like you look really good, you look better almost than you do on stage, you're pretty conditioned, we're not gonna do a low day. We're gonna feed you again today because obviously you shouldn't be at your stage weight, and that's like my dry weight. So that's after taking, like I do dandelion root and a natural diuretic during the week, along with water loading, and that's depleted. So if I'm not even in a depleted state and I'm still drinking normal water sodium intake, to be at 122 is pretty low for me, although I am pretty full still, so I'm not too worried. So the goal right now is just to maintain fullness going into the show. Conditioning isn't really an issue, and as I dry out, conditioning will only get better. So mainly just fullness, because I don't want to be too conditioned, but I want to be still pretty conditioned. But again, next to the other girls, I don't want to be too small because I can look stringy if I'm not full enough. So the goal is just to go into the show full, so we can just have an easy peak week and then just load me a little bit harder and dry out a bit. But yeah, so that is where I am at 2 weeks out of Olympia. Well, just under 2 weeks out of Olympia, actually. Yeah, I'm just really excited to go to the Olympia. It's going to be an insane experience. I've never been to the Olympia before for the expo or to watch, so my first time getting to go, I'm getting to compete, is absolutely insane to me. But yeah, so me and Britt fly out on Wednesday next week. I think it's next week, right? Oh my god, it's next week, yeah. Holy shit, it's next week. Mini panic attack. So we fly out on Wednesday next week, and we leave in the morning, so we get there. Wednesday will be my last training, etc. I'll bring you guys along so you'll see everything. And yeah, that's all for now. Thank you guys for watching.